Hello guys, welcome back. In this video, we will look at the if and the if-else statements in Java. So without wasting time, let's get started. So before we move on to understand if and if-else statements, let us understand the flow of a program. So as you know that your source code files are generally executed from top to bottom, right? And if I run this source code, the output should be first line, then the value of your variable a, b, and so on, right? So let me run this file. Now let me compile and execute the program. Now let me execute it. And as you see, we have the output as first line, 1, 2, and your last line. All right. Now let us suppose that if we want to print the statement system.out.println b only if the value of your variable a is equal to 1, or if you want to print this value 1000 times, right? So this is where your control flow statements come into picture, and we will understand each of the control flow statements with the help of the programs. So there are three main categories of your control flow statements. So first is your selection statements, then we have the iteration statements, and finally we have your transfer statements. And in this video, we will discuss about the two types of your selection statements, that is if and if else statements. Now let us talk about the if statement, right? So let us suppose that if we want to print the statement system.out.println b only if the value of your a is equal to 1. So how we can do this? So we can write something like this, let me give me a space. So if a double equals to 1. And now if I save this and run this, the output should be first line, then we have 1, 2, and your last line as the output, right? And you should notice that I have written double equals to because we are comparing the primitive value. And also after the if statement, I don't have any semicolon. So now let me run this and verify the output. Now let me compile and execute the program. Now let me execute it. And as you see, we have the output as first line, 1, 2, and your last line. And now if I change this value from 1 to 2, the statement system.out.println b should not be printed in the output. So now let me run this. And now if I compile this and run this, I should have only 3 lines of output. And as you see, we have the output as first line, first, and last line. Now let us suppose that if we want to print this statement system.out.println a and system.out.println b only if the value of your a variable is equal to 1. So how we can do that? So what we can do is we can simply put this line system.out.println a and system.out.println b inside the parentheses. So we need to write something like this. So first let me move this if statement from this line to this line. And after the if statement, I need to open my parentheses, right? And I need to enclose all those lines which I want to print if the if condition is true. And after that, I need to close my parentheses. And now if I run this, I should have only the output as first line and the last line, as our condition a equal to 2 is false. So now let me run this. Now let us execute the program. And as you see, we have only 2 lines of output. And now if I change this condition to a equals to 1, both this line should be executed. So now let me run this. And as you see, we have all 4 lines of output. First line, 1, 2, and your last line. There is one thing what we need to know about the if statement. So as you see, I have written this condition a equals to 1. So if I remove this equal to, I am only left with a single equal to sign. And now this is your assignment operator. And if I compile this program, I should get the compilation error, because if statement requires a Boolean expression, right? So if I compile this, I should get the compilation error. So let us verify this. And after I compile, I should get the compilation error. And as you see, we have the compile time error. Now consider this modified program. So what I've added is a Boolean variable bool, and the value is set to false. And in the if condition, I check if the Boolean value is equal to true or not. And as you know that bool value is equal to false, those statements A and B should not be printed, right? So now let me run this. And now if I compile this, I should have only 2 lines of output. As you see, we have only 2 lines of output. As you have seen in the previous example, if I remove this single equal to, the program did not compile. But this is not the case with the Boolean option. So what happens in Boolean is, your value is assigned to the Boolean variable, right? And then it is evaluated. So now this Boolean value is set to true, and since it is true, this statements will be evaluated. So now let me run this program. And now if I compile this and run this, I should have all the 4 lines as the output. And as you see, we have all the 4 lines. So this is the syntax for your if block. You have your if condition, and below that you have your statement. And if you want to include multiple statements, then you can include parentheses, right? And you should remember that if you add semicolon after your if condition, then the statement will never be executed. So that is it for the if statement. Now let us look at the if else statements. Now consider this example where you have an integer variable age which is initialized with the value of 18. So here in this statement, what we do is we check if the age of a person is greater than 18 or not. And if this evaluates to true, then the statement inside the if block is executed, right? And if this statement evaluates to false, then your else block is executed, right? So now let me run this program. Now let me compile and execute the program. So I type javac test.java. Sorry, it should be single T. Now let me execute it. So we have this control flow. And as you see, we have the output as sorry, wait until you turn 18. And then we have the end of the program as the output, right? And now if I change this value to 19, the output should be you are eligible to vote, and then end of the program. So now let me run this. Now let us compile and execute the program once again. And you see the output is you are eligible to vote, and then we have this end of a program. Now there is one more thing what you need to be aware about, right? So suppose if I copy this statement, and let me paste it over. Let me paste it, right? And let me change the message to hello, right? So now if I run this program, I should get the compilation error, and I'll tell you the reason why. So now let me run this. Now let me compile the program, and as you see, we have the compilation error. So the reason you get the compilation error is because after the if statement, only one line is executed. And if you have any other line between your if and else blocks, then you have the compilation error. So in order to fix this, what we need to do is we need to write something like this, opening parentheses and then your closing parentheses after the if block. And then similarly for the else, what we need to do is we need to write something like this. And now if I run this, I should get the output as, you are eligible to vote, hello, and then end of the program. So now let me run this. And now if I compile and run this, the compilation error should be fixed. And yes, we don't have any compilation error. So now let me run this. And as you see, we have the proper outputs. And one final thing what you need to remember is that, if you write anything between the if and else block, you'll get the compilation error. So although you have written this parentheses, after that if you write any statement, you'll get the compilation error, right? So you should not include any statement between your if and else blocks, right? And always remember to use the parentheses so that you can manage your code properly, right? So that is it for the if else statement. So this is the syntax of your if else statement. So if your condition evaluates to true, then your if block is executed. And if the condition evaluates to false, then your else block is executed. All right. So that is it for the today's video. And in the next video, we will look at the switch statement.